What is up, guys? Today I will do my Manly Warringah, not that, my Sydney Roosters season review. Let's just go right up until first up at the Sydney Cricket Ground. They played the Manly Sea Eagles and absolutely smashed them. Brett Morris got a hat-trick. Brett Morris and James Tedesco both got hat-tricks. Jake Friend went down in this game, which was a really, really bad thing for them. Round 2 against the West Tigers was another smashing performance. Yeah. Round 3, they got smashed by the Roosters. Again, the scoreline doesn't reflect how the game went. Another thing is, Luke Keary went down in this game, which was a horrible loss. He is one of the best 5'8" in the comp. Next up, against the New Zealand Warriors, Sam Walker debuted. Yeah. They had a lot of... Next up, the Sydney Cricket Ground. They played the Cronulla Sharks, which they beat pretty handedly, 26-18. Round 6, they played the Roosters, and they won they lost to the Storm, 20-4. Pretty bad performance. Next up was the Anzac Day clash, where they thrashed the Dragons. Much needed, I think. Round 8, they smashed the Knights at a cost. Brett Morris went down. Lindsay Collins went down. So it's 2 out. Next up, at Bankwest, they lost to the Eels. Next up, Magic Round, they played very well against the Cowboys, who gave them a bit of a scare. Yeah. Sydney Roosters, this is the Brisbane Broncos, and they did not do much. The Broncos shut up. They did not. Next up on the Central Coast, it's the Raiders. They had a bad start, the Roosters, but in the second half they were clinical. It's 44-16. Round 13 by round 14. One of the best games of the year, in my opinion, against the Gold Coast Titans. 35-34. The Roosters were up 30-4 early in the second half. The Titans came back to lead them 34-30. Matt Icavalo scores a try. Sam Walker misses the conversion. But then he kicks a field goal, that was great to watch. It was one of the best games ever. I've watched. Almost the biggest comeback in NRL history. Roosters didn't like it there. They just want to hold their lead so they can get into the top 4. They couldn't do it. Anyways. Next up, against the Penrith Panthers. The Roosters had a great start against the Panthers, 12-0 early on, but the Panthers kind of dominated them from there. They lost 38-12. Round 16 against the Storm, where they got smashed at McDonald Jones Stadium and kept to 0. Just not something very Rooster-like. They had a lot of injuries. Next up, round 17 was a funny game. Sam Walker runs backwards with 20 seconds to go in that The Roosters, they were pretty good. But the Bulldogs were better than them. You could argue the Bulldogs were the better team, sort of. The Bulldogs gave them one hell of a scare. They gave them a hell of a run for their money. Next up in Townsville, against the North Queensland Cowboys. But they won, but only had had a horrible start, being down 12-0 early. So yeah. Stop against the Newcastle Knights on the Sunshine Coast. They won 28-8, which was kind of a nice one. Been there a pretty bad start though. Now round 20 against the Parramatta Eels. The Roosters kept the Eels to 28-0. It's a really good victory. Next up, against the Penrith Panthers. Well, they didn't play that bad. I think this was a good performance. But even though Matt Burton kind of carved them up, they did make a comeback later. So next up, against the Brisbane Broncos, they got a big scare by the Broncos. No, but they still won 21-20 off of a controversial captain's challenge thing. Round 23 at Clive Burgerforce Stadium, Toowoomba. They beat the Dragons. It was a pretty good game in the first half, but the second was kind of all the Roosters. The Roosters kind of dominated, but they 40-22. Nice high-scoring game, you know. Next up at Suncorp Stadium was a disaster for the Roosters. They got smashed 54-12. They lost Joey Manu, which is obviously, he was a big loss. He was a great replacement if there was any player injured. Finally, for the regular season, against the Canberra Raiders up in Mackay, they smashed them. Canberra Raiders had a great start, but the Roosters kind of just blew them off the park. Right there, then this is the second half. Anyways, next up was another great game between the Roosters and Titans, where the Roosters won. Well, it was a good game. They won 25-24 in a thriller. Yeah. Now next up. Well, finally for the Eastern Suburbs against the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles. Now they got smashed. And I think that was definitely revenge for round one. Manly the Roosters were not okay. They're not good. Anyways, for next year, they have Renoff Attorney coming. ran off attorney. That's the only one I can really remember. But anyways, they lose. I think they lose. What's his name? There's Josh Morris to retirement, Jake Friend to retirement, Boyd Cordner to retirement, Brett Morris to retirement. That's 4. It's big. Anyways, I'll see you guys. So I'll see you guys next time.